Hello and welcome to Masquerade Breach, Season 3, Episode 11, Take 2. We had some problems with Discord last time we tried to record this, so we're going to hop right into it. I'm Blazewing.
I'm Catherine Cosplays, otherwise known as Krisha. I'm sorry, honey. It didn't happen.
Try again.
Talk and y'all can hear me until I say my name.
Just say it.
Marley.
There it is. And I am Oceanus Veritas, also known as Cam.
This episode, we are getting into The Hunger with David Bowie and Susan Sarandon. This was made in, I think, 1983. I'm going to have to go open the IMDb here in a moment. But before we get started, folks, don't tell the Camarilla, or we'll never get this episode recorded. So, let's start from the top. Let's talk about it. What did you guys think?
I thought it was beautiful. This movie was delectable. It was so well made. This was somebody's like Blaze, you said it like this. You were like, this was somebody's passion project. And you can tell just from like how just awesome and like so loved this movie is, and you can tell that right away. It's so delicious. It's so artsy. Like, that is like literally the best way to put it, is that like it's so artsy and it's a sapphic wet dream. And like, it is one of the best vampire movies I think I've ever seen. Simply because of like, it has everything. It has the seduction, it has the mystery, all of that. It is delectable.
Anyone else?
I'm okay, so I do really enjoy the movie, but my brain didn't like that kind of music, and a lot of times the background music and the wah noises that accompanied everything were so distracting. Like, I'm glad I had to watch it more than once, because I actually did miss stuff the first time, because all I was hearing was all that music and the noises, and it was one of those things where like it really it distracted too much in a lot of the really good places where I needed to pay attention. And I can fully admit I'm one of those people that, you know, certain noises do distract me. So everyone else can watch it and be like, oh, that was a great movie. And I'm over here like, but that noise, like nails on a chalkboard. And all I could do was just wait for Susan Sarandon to show up so I could be like, oh, the pretty's here again.
Ocean?
So there's a couple of things about this movie that just absolutely nailed it on point. And I do apologize, Marley, that you were not a fan of the music, because that is very gothic music. That was absolutely Bela Lugosi's Dead at the beginning. You know, the very first one with Bauhaus. It played into the dark theme well. This was a good juxtaposition of the genre of gothism and the darkness that they are allured to. It showed a lot of the 80s, and I think that a lot of the underground 80s that made for the aesthetic and also the vibe of the movie. While, yes, industrial, if it was during the 80s, was indeed a lot of distracted noises, and it was meant to feel ethereal at the time, and the dark ethereal was something that they worked on. So the way this meshed was insane. It brought in two very mainstream, I think even, two at least that I know of, mainstream 80s superstars to the light, or to the darkness in this case. It had David Bowie, who is iconic. Susan Sarandon, who is also just as iconic. But I think it's more so David Bowie than it is Susan Sarandon, in my opinion. It was a unique and visceral take on vampirism in a way that holds true to classic vampirism while bringing new elements into this version of the 80s, I guess is a way to put it. They went with it in a way that held true to a modern time, but at the same time also gave it that nostalgic feeling of vampirism in the way that we see it timelessly.
So I'm going to go a bit into the, I don't want to say analytical, but more into the literary side of things. I'm going to give you guys kind of a breakdown of things from behind the scenes, from what I can find on the information this week. So heads up, spoilers, as goes with every episode that we discuss. Basic synopsis for storyline. The Egyptian vampire lady, Miriam, subsists on the blood of her lovers. In return, the guys or girls don't age until Miriam has had enough of them. Unfortunately, that's the current case with John, played by David Bowie, so his life expectancy is less than 24 hours. Desperately, he seeks help from the famous Dr. Sarah Roberts, played by Susan Sarandon. She really doesn't believe his story, but becomes curious and contacts Miriam, and then gets caught in her spell too. So this movie was released, one second, April 29th, 1983. Opening weekend, it broke 1.8 million, and it grossed in US and Canada 5.79 million, grossed worldwide 5.99 million. This movie was something of an art piece. It was one of the artsiest movies that we've watched thus far. Whoever made this poured their soul into it. There were some scenes I didn't get. The dove scene, for instance, was something that kind of just, I get the symbolism of being like free or being released, that sort of thing. But I don't feel like it really belonged. That being said, all of the effects in this movie were practical. They didn't use any special effects. They used different ways of utilizing the camera. They used the atmosphere, and they used the sets to great effect with this. The other thing that they left out were the fangs.
Yeah.
Which is wild to see in a vampire movie, because, I mean, fangs kind of go with the territory. But I also don't think that detracted from it in this case. I think this movie pulled it off.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. One of the thoughts that I had was the use of a small, about that size of a dagger to do the deed, I guess, in a way. And the way its impracticality showed when John attempted to take his first victim, the man with the roller skates, or the roller skating man, was attacked. And it was out of desperation. You could tell it was out of desperation that John was going through this. And the fact that he could not concentrate long enough in his accelerated aging that he was dealing with due to, Miriam's loss of interest in him, which kind of sucks. It became something of a unique struggle between someone who, in the best way possible that I can think of, how a ghoul once a vampire essentially loses interest in their thrall, it takes on a personified version of what is actually happening. That she's losing interest, thus he's aging, and quickly, rapidly so. And the more she thinks about it, the less she wants to be around him. And this isn't the only time this has happened. So this idea and this concept was, I think at the time, very unique. And it was a fresh way of looking at vampirism as a whole. And in a way, like you said, this is an art piece to someone. This is someone's magnum opus in a lot of ways, which is the reason you can see where their passions are blooming and blossoming in this.
It's a love letter.
I just want to add to that how fucked up it is that she's losing interest in them. And instead of letting them go and letting them die, they have to suffer for eternity in her attic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she never lets them go. Like, you have just like a brief moment of like euphoria caught up in the moment of being with like this vampire, no matter how long it lasts. And then the seriousness of the situation of, no, dude, you're fucked. You're doomed for eternity. That, like, I just think of that.
Yeah, it's the downside to the immortality issue, where most of the movies we watch, if someone has the immortality, then it's glorified and it's beautiful. This is the darkest side that could happen. It is your worst nightmare. You grow old, but you can't die. You're stuck in that box. You can't get out. And that there's just more and more accumulating in there, and you can't help them and they can't help you. You're literally at the mercy of the vampire. And she refuses to let you go.
There's something absolutely alluring about this movie. They got the seduction, 100%, hands down. They draw you in. Not to mention, they got Susan Sarandon to play this role. Let's just talk about that for a moment. You go from Grease to this?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I get the themes are like sexual awakening and all of that, but god damn, like Susan Sarandon in any role she plays in, I think in her earlier career, was absolutely wonderful.
Do you mean Rocky Horror? Not Grease.
Pretty sure. Give me one
Susan Sarandon was in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Hold on. I might have got my movies wrong. Give me 1 second.
Me.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Oh, yeah, Rocky Horror. My bad.
I guess that makes sense. It's
Who was
kind
I thinking of
apropos.
that's in fucking Grease then?
Let's think about Grease then. How like it's the sweet innocent girl gets caught up with the bad boy greasers and gives up that innocence and becomes a part of the crew. Like, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It's ugh. So you have like the top of the top, this like doctor who's creating this incredible, innovative medicine, who is then like her feet are swept from under her by this one, like, by this vampire.
Sorry.
Like, so, yeah.
I was thinking of Olivia Newton-John. My bad.
Yeah.
Point out, though, that this movie is a lot like Rocky Horror, and Susan Sarandon also had a sexual awakening in both films.
Yeah.
Krisha, you brought up a point in just random discussion about this movie that kind of hit. About something that we covered in season 1.
Oh, it's a Carmela retelling.
Yes. Yes, it is.
How literally Carmela just goes around in circles in the same area. And just like as the new fresh blood comes in, because it's a sapphic, I don't want to say lesbian vampire because she swings both ways, but that sort of love, but like it's not love. We have established that Carmela isn't love; it's obsession.
It's obsession and it's possession.
It's obsession and possession. But I think that the difference here is that, what's the name of the vampire? Miriam
Blaylock
Miriam.
actually happens to also be a name that I use on occasion, actually.
I feel like she isn't, I feel like she is swept up in it to the point of no return. Like, she was one of these thralls, then turned into a vampire. And, like, she is, like, stuck in her own cycle of lovers because she is so obsessed. Like, she wants so desperately to be loved, but she can't understand love. She only understands obsession. So it's so interesting, and like you can dive in because there are so many layers to this movie. And also, what happened at the end? Is it because like Susan Sarandon survived Miriam that now she is the vampire?
Yeah, she's the keeper also of the vampire.
Yeah, she became because she was the only living thing, or what would be considered living, I guess, of that blood, and the fact that hers fought, it won, and they connected finally.
Okay.
All the others got to be free, though, so win-win.
Yeah.
She got her own medicine for all eternity because she ain't letting her out.
Right.
It's fantastic. I love this movie. It's so, there is not a single choice in this movie that is by accident. Everything is deliberate. It's like with the movie Coraline, the director and the producer said every single frame of this movie has meaning and is deliberate. Nothing is by accident. And that is how I feel about this movie. Everything is deliberate.
Yeah. I think one of the things that the takeaway from this movie is the beautiful lie and the ugly truth of just kind of that I guess the psychological aspect of it and the philosophy of it is John repeats to Miriam over and over again, "You said forever."
So, sorry,
yeah,
finish your thought.
The idea behind it was just that it was never forever. He knew there was others. She said what he wanted to hear just so she could have him. And I think that is something important to make note of, including and up to someone that the reason why he went after the girl, what was her name? The one that could play the violin. What was her name?
1 second. The girl in the London house?
Yeah, the one that was their neighbor that came over for lessons or music lessons, essentially.
Don't know, but it was but she was played by Sophie Ward. Okay, that's cool. Willem Dafoe was also in this movie.
Yes, he was.
Oh.
Yeah, William Dafoe was in this movie, and he didn't play a major role in it, but he was there.
When Susan Sarandon was on the payphone, he was at the payphone talking to her.
Oh, right. Yeah, he was the payphone guy. He's such a minor role, but really, really good input. But the girl that John ends up killing, essentially, and drinking from, and it does not help. He apologizes to her because it wasn't her fault. But I think in a lot of ways there was a lot of jealousy because you could tell that was a prize that Miriam wanted to watch continually. It was an art piece for Miriam to watch this girl play the violin and be taught and everything. And she actually reveals something that even as John didn't even see. The idea behind Miriam and I are best friends is what she says. But John is not easy to read. That idea behind he's more distant, aloof. This was Miriam's like strong suit in regards to connecting with this girl, this girl whom apparently didn't show up back home afterwards, left a note and everything along with a picture. And it was in a way kind of a small revenge that John did as a way to upset Miriam, to push her away. Because if you recall, she comes home and she says, "Oh no, John, what did you do?" And he continually asked, to unalive him, that kind of thing. And it was an absolute visceral moment, even in its subtlety. And yeah, even in its subtlety, it was insane. But they were making the correlation between Susan Sarandon's character's work with the monkey and the aging aspect. So, anyways,
just a quick note before we move on here: the operating budget for this movie was $1 million, which means it made 5, almost 6 times what it spent.
Which is insane.
So, let's talk most hated scene in this movie. Who wants to go first?
So we already know what my dislike was. And I was okay with the first song that played. It was the constant noises that were happening that I was so distracted by the noise that I couldn't pay attention to what was happening in the actual movie. And like I said, the second watch, I got it. But the first time through, it was a lot of stuff going over my head. And this is the kind of movie you need to pay attention to. Like, you're not going to get everything anyway, because a lot of it is open to interpretation. And I think that's a beautiful aspect of it. That's just not my style of movie to really get into. Like, if we could have cut half of the background noise or at least lowered it so the speaking parts were higher than the music, it would have been a lot easier for me. That is just my personal opinion. As far as the parts of the movie itself, I felt like they did a really, really good job of putting enough puzzle pieces together and still letting the audience have an interpretation of their own that isn't exactly, wrong. Like, we can see what had happened. Now, what was the motive behind it? They don't always explain. That's where you get to make your own decisions. So that part was cool. I just really hated being distracted through the whole thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Who's next?
I guess I don't have really a most hated scene, but I guess I didn't really like the ending with Miriam, the way she died. I guess it seemed a little kooky. It seemed a little it kind of breaks immersion, and you kind of pull yourself out and go, this is kind of not the vibe I was getting when I was watching the beginning to the middle to, just before this one point. And it was that whole oscillation of the head constantly to see it all, because you don't necessarily know what's happening to her. You just get the idea that she's aging progressively quickly, and that she eventually perishes, if perish really were a thing. So it was kind of a weird way of showing her I guess dying scene in a way. So it was one of those, it just didn't match the rest of the movie, in my personal opinion. Otherwise, I don't have a most hated scene, I guess.
This is a weird nitpick for me. I didn't like that Susan Sarandon didn't know that Miriam was a vampire when the blood exchange happened. I don't know. This is just a thing for me. It's like, even if it was like in the moment of passion, I like when they know. The sneakiness got me a little bit. That I was like, they don't know what they're signing up for. But also, that's like the whole part of, or she's a vampire and this is something she wants, so she's gonna take it no matter what. But yeah, that threw me.
I guess there is another part that I really don't, that really kind of gets me, and again, it has to do with the kind of classic aspects. I wasn't a fan of the small little dagger thing.
My most hated scene. Gonna have to go with the doves on this. As far as I'm concerned, they had no place in this movie. It was fucking weird.
The
also,
what?
The doves.
I guess for me that did make sense. The doves. It was that loss of innocence aspect.
I get that. I get the imagery they were trying to go for. They fucked it up. This is my one nitpick with the fucking movie is the goddamn doves. Also, the amount of camera shake in that scene. What the fuck? That camera was all over the place. Like, shit, dude.
I'm having a ring light rave right now. It's flashing for some reason.
Hang on a sec. I am apparently malfunctioning or something.
Nope, that's me. Let me
It's
turn
not-
it off and on again. Now we are in the darkness.
We're in the dark.
Oh, it's still flashing, but you know what? Fuck it. If it explodes, whatever.
The hunger, the hunger is some. Where is it streaming?
I thought we did the hunger. Did we not do the hunger?
Was the hunger not this movie?
Oh,
This movie is the hunger. It's Vampire Rosemary Annenberg said that she's obsessed with everything vampire, but cannot find the hunger.
Yeah, no,
Message me
Yeah.
afterwards.
Blaze does everything.
Message me
Mhm.
afterwards. We'll talk.
If they do like a Muppets version, is it going to be the Hungy?
It will be the hungy, and
So-
animal will be Miriam.
So I had, like I said, I had issues with the fucking doves and the camera shake in that moment. I don't really think there was anything else, honestly, that kind of stuck out at me as most hated. So let's move on to favored. What was your most favorite scene?
Honestly,
I'll-
my
oh,
favorite.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. My favorite was the ending. Well, the two parts of the ending, both of what happened to Miriam, but the fact that, like, if it had just ended with the release of all the previous lovers and Miriam on the floor and everything, I'd been like, hey, that's cool. But then you get the very, very end because I was like, yeah, it's still vampire immortal, right? And you get the very, very end, and you're like, oh, the keeper of the vampire. Like, I love that part because I feel like that was the end of the cycle. It was such a needed end to the cycle because all of those souls, like, it broke my heart, and I know it's not real. Like, I was sitting there going, oh my gosh, like, they promised forever, they got forever, because forever was locked as an old person in a casket, in an attic with a bunch of other old people in caskets. They still got forever in the worst way possible. And the most tortured way. And then when they finally get to be released, you're like, yay! Completion of the cycle. And then you see her in the box at the end, and you're like, ha, ha, ha. Daisy.
Who's next?
I'll go. My favorite had to be when Susan Sarandon first gets to Miriam's house. And that was a tango. That was a samba. Like, straight up, it was just like the tension was so high. And just like how like as taut as like a violin string about to snap. Like, it was so well done. Everything about it. Yeah, loved it.
Ocean.
So there's a couple of scenes here. Obviously, I like David Bowie a lot. So anything dealing with David Bowie is going to be pretty good. I actually liked the scene, the dinner scene, where Susan Sarandon's character is at dinner with one of her colleagues. I think they're married, aren't they?
I think they're just together.
Oh,
I
it's
think
just
they're
like-
just but I think they're just a couple. I don't think they're married.
Okay, so the boyfriend-girlfriend scenario where you see her disinterest in him and disinterest in food and disinterest in the whole scene. You see it vividly. Like, he mentions it, you ordered the steak, you didn't eat the steak. Why didn't you, if I'm paying for it, why are you not eating? You know, that kind of thing is what I got from him. And he's just trying to make sense of what's going on. And eventually they end up in an argument and almost a fight. Like, you went over to this unknown woman's house and you talked for 3 hours. Like, you know, nowadays it doesn't seem so big, but at the time, I guess it was, because they always communicate, you know, that kind of thing. And she was being very vague about what they talked about. Because, as we all know, there was a bit of infidelity. She cheated on him with her. So it was visceral for her because he knows when she's lying, and she was lying. And he eventually said, you need to see a doctor. Well, I am a doctor. I'm a doctor too, and I'm telling you, you need to see a doctor. You know, that kind of thing. And it's that moment, that rift between them that eventually gets onto the subject that this movie, you know, just portrays so, like you said, Krisha, just absolutely layer upon layer of what we could dissect this movie for hours, honestly.
I think
Also, the fact that doctors make the worst patients. So if a doctor is telling you to go to a fucking doctor, knowing you're a doctor, okay, like, as someone who grew up around physicians, nurses, doctors, whatever, that was the one moment of this movie where I laughed. Like, that was the one moment of levity in this whole film.
for me, you guys know me, it's not so much a scene. It's the aesthetic. It's the set. It was.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Oh,
Couldn't
no.
hear you there.
No. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that, please?
I said, for me, it's not a scene. It's the aesthetic.
Always the aesthetic and the costumes.
I'm very visual person. If you want to pull me into a movie, visual is gonna have to be a thing. I mean, I get the plot. Sure, plot's good. That helps make a movie. For me, it's the sets. It's the costuming. I want to live here. Like,
I totally want the house.
Right?
We can all live there and have our own space and not bug each other unless we actually want to.
just get some fucking
Like,
Wi-Fi going in there. Get some fucking like Ethernet cable winding through the house and just stick to the rooms.
We have an intercom system. Stop talking shit. I can hear you from the third floor.
I'm just in the attic with my little breadcrumbs feeding all the doves. Like, here you go. Here you go.
Blaze is just downstairs in the foyer, just going, those fucking doves.
You'll have me on the second floor and I'll be blasting When Doves Cry.
I do like, despite the fact that this house was lived in, this house was not lived in. You could feel it. It was cold and it was empty. It was not a home. It was a place to just shack up for the night. They got that beautifully done. Also, I want one of those Ankh knives now. I gotta figure out where to get one of those.
I'm pretty sure you can find it on some South American rainforest place.
The last thing I want to mention is if you are expecting anything G-rated with this movie, you're looking at the wrong movie. This movie is R-rated and you get tits and ass within the first 5 fucking minutes. Just prepare for boob.
Tasteful
Okay.
boob.
Okay. It is tasteful boob.
It is.
This isn't From Dusk Till Dawn, where I
No.
even was like, that's a little too much boob, and I love boobs. No, straight, like, all of this was tasteful. All of this was aesthetically pleasing.
Can we give
And-
honorable mention to Susan Sarandon's character's breakdown, though?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take it
Fucking good act.
Take it away. Let's talk about that for a moment then, shall we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. When it starts with the whole writhing on the bed thing, and you're like, okay, I see where this is going. We're having a reaction. You know, we've seen this before. But as soon as her partner shows up and he's like, no, I am here for her. And you see her on the floor just rocking and screaming, and it is so real. You feel it. Like you feel like you're the one whose blood is tainted because you're just like, oh my God.
I mean,
She is so good at it that it draws you in, and you're like, I need to watch this. Like, I cannot turn away. I don't care what kind of breakdown it is. It's like watching a car crash where you know everyone will survive, and you're like, I just want to see the dummies get bounced around a bit. Like you cannot look away, and she's so good that it draws you in, and it's so real. And like then when she's back to herself, you're like, wow. She has such good range. Such good range.
absolutely. To be fair, though, David Bowie can taint my blood any day.
Really, yeah.
All
I'm
right.
just saying. Last little tidbit. David Bowie ass.
Yeah, you got to give an honorable mention to the David Bowie ass. Everybody loves a good David Bowie ass.
Just know if you're going to watch this for the ass, then you have to watch Labyrinth for the front.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Not in our genre for movies, but still, got to do it. All right, let's move on. So we've talked about, we've dissected this movie from head to foot. We've talked about our hated scenes. We've talked about our favorite scenes. Let's talk about rating. Go around, brief summation. You guys know the drill. On a scale of 1 to 5. What do you think? Who wants to go first?
I will give it a 4.5 out of 5. And I know the half is mainly because of my personal ick, but also I'm sure there are others that would be distracted. But there were a few other points that, it got distracting, like you were talking about with the doves. It gets distracting more than it's drawing you in. So the parts that were good were really good, but the parts that were not so good could really ruin the movie for someone if they're not like really trying, So it's a 4.5 out of 5.
Next.
I will say I'm also gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. I also will admit that the 80s synth got a little too distracting, and there were Miriam's death, I think, could have been oh my God, the ring light rave, a teensy bit better. 4.5 out of 5.
Ocean.
I'm gonna give this a 4, and it's a solid 4. There's a couple of reasons why. Again, there are times of which the art was flamboyant, in my opinion, in this movie, where it seemed like that's a bit much. But the story was good. Wasn't my favorite. If you're gonna go vampire, go with the fangs, in my opinion. But the Ankh is a good the Ankh dagger is a good substitute, I suppose. It's like placing blood over eggs for baking a cake. But I mean, hey.
Bit of a visceral reaction.
Just saying. Exactly.
I thought when you said blood over eggs, I imagined instead of ketchup, using blood on like scrambled eggs. That's the visual I had. Oh
No,
God.
no,
I know
no.
you can in baking you can replace eggs with blood, but oh God.
I know, right? Sorry. I paused on that. I should have never paused. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But I will point out that this was the 80s, early 80s, if I'm not mistaken. 1983 was its premiere. It grossed 5 times what it put in, what it invested. And I think it was well deserved. It was something that this movie, obviously, it knew its audience. It knew its audience well. It knew that it was going to be in the hype of the Gothic movement. It was in the hype of the underground, and it was the height of, I mean, come on, David Bowie and Susan Sarandon. It was looking for the beautiful grotesque. It was looking for the beautiful lie and the ugly truth. It encapsulated the dark 80s, in my opinion.
This movie for me. So normally I'm not actually one for artsy movies. I don't like artsy movies. They don't really do anything for me. I'm here for, in some cases, the aesthetic, the blood, and the gore. I'm here for the vibe of the movie itself. Artsy tends to detract from that in a lot of cases for me. It's a sensory thing. There's a very fine line there. This grabbed me by the neck and pulled me in and kept my attention. Congratulations. For that, I can look past the goddamn doves. This is a piece of work. It's a piece of art. If I can get my hands on a physical copy of it, it's going on my shelf. It is that good for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And this movie, I think, gets... Despite the goddamn doves, I think I'm stepping out on a limb here, and I'm actually going to give this movie a 5.
Does that make me Simon Cowell of vampire movies?
Not necessarily. I've rated lower than you in a couple of them, I think.
Yeah, but usually Ocean does have the lowest score every time. Usually.
Okay, yeah, the Simon Cowell
score, and Krisha has the longest rant. Blaze, you're the one that analyzes things in a different way than we do.
Yep.
And me, I'm the funny one, whether we like it or not. I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
There's a reason I brought you all into this project. You all have very unique perspectives. You all look at things through different lenses in your own way. That's why we're here. This is the kind of discussion that I want, up to and including, I fucking hated the movie. I want it to burn. I should never see the light of day again. Stomp on it. Put it in the ground. We're done. Those kind of movies.
I will handle this.
From dusk till dawn. What? Burning?
Also, according
burning?
to Krisha, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. But I mean...
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
he is joking you.
You're good. You're good.
No. What I mean is, like, I thought I was ready to rant about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I'm not. It can still die.
In a fire. Right next to From Dusk Till Dawn. Burn.
But no, this movie, I think, despite the very slight issues that I had with it, this movie actually gets a 5. Not a lot of artsy movies do that. Not a lot of artsy movies can pull me in like that. So congratulations to 1983. You went out, at least for me, for this movie. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. Guys, we have one more episode until the end of season 3.
And then we
Oh,
do another
God.
ranking.
And then we do another ranking. So we've got 2 more episodes.
So this next one is the one I've been waiting for. Yes.
Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, the shittiest B-rated movie you will ever fucking see. You're not the only one that's been waiting for it. Because I, despite the fact that this coming movie was my suggestion, I have never seen it. I looked at this movie when it was recommended and was like, I'll get to it. And then we started the podcast and I was like, so this is going to be the perfect opportunity to do it. This is right up Marley's alley. Let's fucking go for it. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are in the audience, Wednesday nights after we're done an episode on Mondays, the following Wednesday we do watch parties. Coming up, we have Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter for season 3, episode 12, and then we have our ranking episode where we do kind of a once over of the season, and then we do a once over out of all of the movies that we watched, if we can remember what they're about and all that shit. If not, I mean, I guess they're delegated to the dustbin of history. And we do competitions every season. But for this episode of Masquerade Breach, I'm Blazewing.
I am Catherine Cosplays, otherwise known as Krisha.
Hey, Marley.
And I'm Oceanos Veritas, also known as Cam.
And remember, don't tell the Camarilla. They'll send the fucking doves after us again.
Or really bad practical effects like the Miriam head shake.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Come talk to any of the hosts if you want an invite to movie night. All of the hosts have their own invite codes. We can get you an invite into the server. And you can come watch vampire movies with us every so often. And it'll be a fun time. We'll see you next episode.